But as we get closer and closer to the election time, Joe Biden's the one on the hot seat. He's been hiding out for, 100 days and 100 nights. He's been standing in the basement, staying away from cameras. Every time he comes out, he says something he shouldn't say. Now he's under pressure because they want him to pick a black female running mate. Right? Now, we know he was supposed to pick a running mate a week ago. Then he pushed it back to this week, and it's Monday, and he still hasn't announced. But they say it's coming in just a couple of days. Now, the suspense over one of the most consequential decisions for a major party presidential nominee pointed to the high stakes for both parties. This will impact the Republican Party as much as it will impact the Democratic Party. Many Democratic leaders, meanwhile, have said they hope the pick breaks new ground by elevating a woman of color, while others have argued for a more ideological, liberal-minded candidate like Elizabeth Warren or a swing state politician like Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. Now, here's the thing now. 100 prominent black men released a strongly worded open letter Monday warning Biden that not picking a black woman would cost him the election. The signatures on that letter include Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, Charlamagne the God or Leonard McKelvey, actor Cedric Kyles or Cedric the Entertainer, commentator Van Jones, Bishop William J. Barber, and attorney Benjamin Crump. So here goes a statement made that kind of solidifies the thinking behind this. So it says, for too long, black women have been asked to do everything from rally the troops to risk their lives to the Democratic Party with no acknowledgement, no respect, no visibility, and certainly not enough support. Failing to select a black woman in 2020 means you lose the election. We don't want to choose between the lesser of two evils, and we don't want to vote the devil we know versus the devil we don't know, because we're tired of voting for devils, period. Now, this letter followed a similar public statement from more than 700 concerned black women leaders on Friday. There's a feeling of urgency in history, and black women are tired of being considered the help, said Karen Finney, a Democratic strategist who signed a letter and led the writing of a third open letter to Biden earlier this year, urging him to pick a black woman. In politics, we have carried so many on our backs across the finish line, and in this moment in history, we believe that it's time for a black woman. Before I go into what I think about this, and I want to choose my words wisely here, because I remember there was a time when I myself believed that maybe the color of the president made a difference. And it does make a difference, but not so much to us, the people of color who the president resembles or has in common, but to the voters, to the white voters particularly. That's who mostly the impact was felt by the people who later became Trump supporters, didn't it? Like, I don't think, other than in a tokenism of way of, well, black people, we have come a long way. You know, what was the real impact of this? And that's really easy to say when a black man's become president and you're part of that group where you're a black man. Is it selfish to say, well, we need to now focus on policy now that you already had a black man in it? See, this is just like this. Maybe you got to check your own, like, okay, so what are you thinking here? What are you thinking this way because of your status of already having that and now it's time to move on? Easy to say move on when it hasn't been you represented or when you haven't been represented. So now all of a sudden it's sort of like the people who all of a sudden find God and we get religious after they did all their running around, and now you young and you ready to go out and have some fun. They're like, hey, slow down. You know, you need to respect yourself and you need to not partaketh. You're like, well, hold on, man. You partied. Yeah, but I learned. I wanted you to learn. So I hope that makes sense. But my point is, I just want to make sure as we become critical of the ideology or the thought that maybe a black woman president would be a good idea, that you understand that you've already had, black man, your Obama was your shot. And I know it wasn't our shot really, but you know what I'm saying. We all know these people are chosen by the Democratic Party. There's no shot. But that's another video, for a later date. Do black women prop up the Democratic Party? Has black women been the backbone of the Democratic Party? I don't know. Let's look and see, Johnson. Let's see if that's the case. Now, this is from 2016. This is from Pew Research, okay? Among validated voters of 2016, wide gap among whites by education. But I also noticed this. As we scroll up, we see now in the blue are people who voted for Hillary, and in red are the people that voted for Donald Trump. As you can see here, 39% of white folks voted for Hillary, 54% of white folks voted for Donald Trump. 91% of black folks voted for Hillary. Only 6% of black folks voted for Donald Trump. Based on this, it looks a lot like black folks have been very supportive of the Democratic Party. Hispanic folks, 66 to 28. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. But if you look here, when it breaks down into gender, black women particularly, 98% of black women voted for Hillary Clinton. In fact, the amount of black women that voted for Donald Trump is so small, it doesn't even have a number, Johnson. Just an asterisk. For all the crap that black people get or black men get about Donald Trump voting, Hispanics voted for Donald Trump twice as much numbers as black men, Hispanic men, and Hispanic women. But that's the conversation for another time. If you look at it purely from a numbers situation, a number standpoint, it would appear that obviously the black women have been very supportive of the Democratic Party. In fact, I would like to suggest to you, I'm going to offer this to you, I don't think there would be a Democratic Party if there weren't black women voting for it. There would be no more Democratic Party. It'd be over. So just through that lens alone, leads me to believe that maybe they have a point. They have a point that if anybody deserves recognition for the party's success or the party being elected, you would have to strongly consider black women as being, it definitely couldn't be white women. Not in comparison to black women. And look at the numbers there. Didn't I see over half of the white women voted for Trump? So what I'm saying is, based on just the numbers, all things being equal, just the numbers on percentage of the population, percentage of the white population, percentage of the black population, it would appear that black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. So no one really can argue that. My point is that I care what their policies are. I care what they stand for. I don't think that Joe Biden, if he is elected, let's say Joe Biden is elected, I don't see him doing 2 terms. That's just my opinion, okay? There's some people who don't even believe he will do 1 term, that he will hand this thing off to a Hillary Clinton or some other dramatic finish at the Democratic Convention. Barring that scenario that some people have imagined, I don't see Joe Biden doing 2 terms. And that's just my opinion. But what I'm saying is, so the VP pick becomes very consequential, right? Because now, whoever that VP is could possibly become president. But I think there's a vast difference between Susan Rice and Nina Turner. And Nina Turner's not even being considered. There's a vast difference between, say, a Barbara Lee and a Kamala Harris. I don't think Barbara Lee is seriously in contention now. Get where I'm going at? So, I respect the hell out of William Barber, Bishop Barber. I respect his. I understand that black women are owed a duty to their allegiance, to their support of the party. There are many ways to repay that. My only concern is that the black woman that is chosen, if that's the case, that the color of their skin not be the only prerequisite. That there are different degrees of not just qualifications, but different degrees of right, different degrees of for the moment, different degrees of fighter for the people. And I'm looking at who they're suggesting would do that. And now, be that as it may, like there are a couple candidates that are interesting that I don't know that well. And I will give that time to look further into those people, into those candidates. The Congresswoman out of California comes to mind. Don't know much about her. Not I'm on the record, Val Demings. I don't think we need a cop. We do not need a police officer. Please stop telling me just because she's a black police officer that she was a black chief of police that's supposed to change something for me. I feel the same way Kamala Harris, the same way I felt about Amy Klobuchar. Enough with the cops. Stop with the cops. So, hey, I get it. I understand it. I care about policy too. Because if we learn nothing from Obama, we should learn that policy matters more than skin tone. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones who still sit at the bottom. At the bottom. Here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations of our blood in this soil for this country. And we're at the bottom of it. Strategically, institutional racism is impacting us for 300 plus years. And if you are selected by the Democratic Party and they want to maintain status quo, they don't have a change president, a president's going to go in and make changes. Well, we have Congress. We need to get more progressive candidates, more elected officials who are willing to move the ball further down the field. But somebody who just comes in and placates black women who looks like they just look black and they know how to say the right things won't, unless they're going to actually improve your life. What difference does it make? That's my concern. So, with that being said, fine. We'll see what Joe Biden does. Joe Biden, I don't know if Joe Biden can risk alienating voters. And I know that's the calculus that they're undergoing right now. How much is Joe Biden willing to alienate potential Trumpian voters who only voted for Trump because they felt like they didn't want to vote for Hillary, and now they're considering Biden? They're like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. That's 2 blacks in a row. That's too much black. Is Joe Biden willing to deal with that? Now, I know he likes to tell stories. I know he likes to pretend. I know he likes to tell stories of corn pop or popcorn and his legs, the kids rubbing his legs. And he likes to tell people they're not black if they don't vote for him. But at the end of the day, is he really willing to risk white votes in order to get a black running mate? See, that's the problem that we have. Because is he really going to lose black votes if he doesn't? I take you back to this. Hillary Clinton still got 98% of black women to vote for her. And I don't know if y'all noticing that. Tim Kaine is very white. When I see him, all I think is that 70s show, elevator music, and oatmeal. And hiking. That's all I think when I see him. I think an LL Bean catalog when I see Tim Kaine. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date when Joe Biden makes that choice and who that choice might be. We'll continue to have that conversation here. Tune in here. You want it real? Tune into the Tim Black Show.